Bespoken Spirits is a modern spirits company blending technology and tradition to take craft spirits to entirely new heights. Their unique craft maturation process unlocks amazing flavor combinations while reducing the environmental impact of each sip. The process is all natural and uses only the highest quality ingredients carefully sourced from the best mills, coopers, and distilleries. The result is an unparalleled flavor experience and something you can feel good about drinking. But don't take our word for it, try it yourself. Bespoken Spirits award-winning products can be purchased through retailers or online. Learn more at www.bespokenspirits.com.
With Liquor Barn, you can shop your favorite bourbon, that perfect bottle of wine, or discover something new. To place an order for pickup or delivery, download the Liquor Barn app, visit liquorbarn.com, or call your nearest Liquor Barn location. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our email list for all the latest news on products, promotions, and events. Liquor Barn, where Kentuckians go to celebrate life. Cheers!
Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me live tonight in the Bourbon Life Studios, we've got the Bourbon Life Crew. Guys, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so I should say with me, as always, is my co-host, Matt, but it's like everybody's here tonight. So, Matt.
That's right. We are crewed up. We've got Chad from My Daily Bourbon joining us.
That's right.
And calling in Philip from Bourbon Hunting KY. Philip, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. We're sorry you can't be with us here in person, man, because this is quite an extravaganza, I think, that we have planned for the...
Oh, yeah.
I'm calling this the Bourbon Life Holiday Special.
I know. I wish we had some sleigh bells to ring in the background for all of this. I don't know if your soundboard had... No, come on. But I'll grab the mic real quick here. This is our, season 2. We talked about doing a holiday episode in season 1, and I don't think we got around to it. So better late than never. But this is the Bourbon Life Holiday episode 2021.
Yeah,
here.
That's right. And it's a thing we talked about. Matt, you said it's going to be a problem to eat and podcast at the same time.
So we'll just say it in advance. We are eating because that's kind of the theme of this evening's, mornings, afternoons, whenever you are listening to it. Podcast is food.
Yeah, it is. And you know what I was going to say before I had a big piece of Matt's delicious pork tenderloin that he made in my mouth and I couldn't talk, was that we talked about this for probably about a year and a half. Matt, as you guys know, has worked in the food industry, did that for quite a few years, also worked at a bakery, so has quite a bit of experience in the culinary industry and the arts. So we've talked about doing an episode where Matt can just kind of share some recipes, some things you can do with bourbons and ryes and different whiskeys, things that you can make. So that's why I'm calling it the holiday special, because these are foods and things that you can make to share with your family during the holiday season that's coming up. So I think this is going to be fun. Oh, I forgot to say, we're the Bourbon Life Podcast presented by Bespoken Spirits. I mean, just forgot everything. Man, I didn't do any notes tonight. I'm all out of sorts, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, what are we drinking?
Yeah, let's talk about first
before
round.
we do it to ourselves.
Man, here you go, Chad. You can take that bottle, man, because I know you're a big fan. So
Yeah. All right. Tonight we are sipping on Elvis Rye. This is called the King.
We're sipping on Elvis.
Yeah, we're sipping on
really
Elvis. Weird. This is from Elvis and Elvis Presley Enterprises. So this says on the back of the bottle, the King. Elvis Presley has long been hailed as the undisputed king of rock and roll. Beginning in 1954, his music, his style, his scandalous dance moves took the country by storm and continued to reign for decades, influencing many other artists, including the Beatles. And then here's a quote from John Lennon. It says, "Nothing affected me until I heard Elvis. Without Elvis, there would be no Beatles." So this is
hey, and now we're selling Bourbons and Rye.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So where's this from? Do you know?
This is distilled in Indiana, aged at least 3 years, and bottled in Columbia, Tennessee.
Okay. So it's distilled in Indiana. It's a rye. So anybody have a guess, Matt, where it might be from? Philip, what about you? You got a guess, man, where that might be from?
Yeah, that's probably the only place that I know of that distills in Indiana.
Well, there's other places. Starlight's over there, right? In Indiana.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot.
There is more than just one place in Indiana.
Yeah, Spirits, the French Licks over there.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Yeah, we're going to have them back on the show. Alan Bishop's going to be on the show in a few weeks again with us. He was on last year. So Alan's kind of a mad scientist.
Wild, man.
He is a wild dude. And he always wears these headphones. If you've ever watched an Instagram Live with Alan, he wore them on our podcast last year. But there's these old, like 1970, I was so envious, man, because he's, it's like those, well, when I was a kid, I had those old headphones that covered your ears, and they were my dad's, and I just loved them. So I was kind of jealous. But Alan wears those like every Instagram Live he does. It's kind of funny. But anyway, Matt, I'm rambling too much. I've already been drinking, you can tell. So sorry about that. All right. So the nose. Let's talk about the nose on the Elvis Rye. What are you guys picking up? Because I'm going to eat some stuff here while you guys are talking.
I think it's really herbal. I'm picking up a lot of like a grassy note on it, a lot of spices too. Like I'm getting anise, kind of like a black licorice type spice, a little bit of mint, more savory herbs, kind of like a rosemary. It could be I'm smelling the food as well, but nice herbal nose on it. It's got a little bit of lime and kind of almost like
Acted lime.
like a funk, but like a good funk.
The one thing that hits me first is that amount of dill.
Like Elvis funk or just funk in general?
I don't think we call Elvis funk, would we?
No, I guess not. He wasn't
King of
very,
rock
He's
and
a king
roll.
and rock. Yeah,
yeah, he wasn't super funky, was he?
No.
So. All right. The dill.
Yeah.
You just said dill, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I like that, Chad. It's got like a nice grassy dill nose on it.
Yeah. That was the first thing. It just kind of struck me as I took a nose. Philip, what about you, man? What are you picking up?
After Chad said it, I kind of get the deal. I feel like I get a lot of apple.
Okay.
I get a little bit of that rye burn, and I do get a little bit of mint, but I really am getting a lot of apple.
Yeah, I'm picking up some mint on this as well. But that dill, and maybe it was subliminal because I was eating and I wasn't really paying attention to what you're saying, Chad, no offense. But it was like, as soon as I smelled the glass, I'm like, ooh, picking up some dill on that. So we're thinking, and I don't have the particulars, but I'm guessing, you think this is a 95.5 or what do you think?
With that amount of, how herbaceous it is, I would say, yeah. 3-year-old 95.5.
Yeah, that seems like it tracks for me.
Yeah, okay. So it is a 3-year-old. Does it say on the bottle it's 3 years old?
Yep.
Okay, I was going to say if it's under 4, obviously it has to say.
Yeah, aged at least 3 years.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting stuff. So Elvis has a rye and a bourbon.
Elvis has arrived.
Okay, so I just looked it up, and it is a 95.5.
Is it? Okay, thanks. Yeah, because Philip, like I said, I didn't do any prep work for the show tonight. This is an absolute winging episode, man. So, it is what it is, right? So, Matt, man, you prepared up I know Matt just took a big bite. I'm going to ask a long question so you can chew that up. So, like I said, man, we've talked about this before with your background in the food industry and food arts, and you've always talked about how much you enjoy to cook, and you've never had the opportunity. Not that we're like, hey, Matt, come over and cook for us, but we've kind of talked about that. So we finally got together, and we've got one of our listeners who has messaged me, our followers on Instagram, and she will send me some recipes and pictures of things that she's making using bourbons and stuff. And she keeps saying, you guys need to do a show about recipes with bourbon and rye and everything. So I was like, you know what? I think it's the right time to do that for the holiday special. So you did that, Matt. So tell us the first, what'd you call them? The snackatizers?
Yeah. So when Mark and I first started talking about doing this podcast, we tossed around a bunch of ideas for different shows, just seeing if we thought we could come up with enough to actually have a podcast. So before you invest everything and you get going. We wanted to see if we thought we had enough content to make it past 4 shows. And one of the first things I came up with was cooking with bourbon. So Mark tasked me with coming up with a bunch of different recipes and different ways that you could cook with bourbon or rye. And I was able to come up with no less than 40 different recipes initially. And then when we decided to do it this year, especially now being close to the holidays, as we're recording here in the beginning of November, I decided I wanted to focus a little bit more holiday style. So these are all recipes that I think of coming around the end of the year holidays, whatever holiday you might be celebrating. But these are just ones that I really enjoy, and recipes and things that are great for entertaining. So the first thing that I did, and I really love doing, and I always give as gifts around the holidays, are roast nuts. So I have developed a couple different recipes over time for different roast nuts and combinations. And this is the first time that I've mixed in some rye with it.
Nice.
So I chose the Davidson Reserve Rye, which is 100% rye from Tennessee, from Jeff and Jenny Pennington down at Davidson Reserve.
Yep.
And the reason I chose this one is it has very earthy tones, a lot of grass, a lot of good herbs, a lot of fresh flavors to it, so that it kind of counteracts with a lot of the baking spice that I put in the nuts. So I wanted to try to play with a little bit of balance. So anyway, we'll get right to it. It's the nut blend was just almonds, cashews, pecans, hazelnuts, and walnuts. And in those, I tossed them with just some salt, pepper, paprika, a little bit of maple syrup, some cinnamon clove mustard powder, which is my secret ingredient that I love in there, fresh ginger, allspice, another favorite ingredient of mine, and just a touch of chipotle. I think if I did them again, I would put a little bit more spice in there, a little more paprika, a little bit more chipotle, get a little more smoke. And so you mix all that together, and then I also toss in some egg white, and you coat it all together, and then I poured in a fairly generous portion of the rye, just tossed it all together and put it in the oven at 350 degree. Well, I usually do about 400, but I had a few to drink at the time, so I lowered the temperature to give myself a little bit of a buffer, not burn them. So
that's good thinking, man.
Yeah, everybody kind of take your temperature with a grain of salt there, or depending on how much you've had to drink. But just roast them up, toss them a couple times while they're in there, and I think all in all they roast probably 20, 25 minutes or so.
Okay.
And they come out. The egg white really gets them nice and crunchy.
Yeah.
So you get that crispness, that crunchiness out of.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the egg white.
Mm-hmm. That's what the egg white is in there for, is to make them nice and crisp and crunchy.
And it's so funny, Matt, because as I picked up some from the bowl earlier before we came downstairs, and they're so light. I mean, I know they're roasted, but maybe I don't roast the nuts right, because they still feel really dense, kind of like me. They're just dense. These feel very light and airy, and they are super crunchy, but they're not like break your tooth kind of crunchy. And I'm sorry, Chad, unfortunately, we believe possibly has a nut allergy.
I know. I did a terrible job in menu planning.
No, you didn't, man.
Everything smells and looks delicious.
Yeah.
I just, to speak on that real quick, I had bourbon balls at work the other day with nuts, with pecans, and whatever was inside of them. And I had an allergic reaction. First time in my 30 years I've ever had an allergic reaction to something that wasn't a tree or a bush, or a cat.
And the funny thing, not funny, but I just happened to stop in the store that day, and I'm talking to you, and I can just see your face is red, and I could tell you just don't feel good. And I'm like, what is going on with you?
I know, you came in like 5 minutes, and I just started feeling bad, and I was getting anxious. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
I could tell.
I've never experienced this. Someone's like, maybe you have nut allergies. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, fortunately, it didn't progress to something much worse. So I'm sorry that you're missing out on Matt's delicious nuts tonight.
Me too.
Well, in the recipe, and I'll just speak a little bit more. A lot of times, and I like these. These are a great thing if you're having company over. Just roast them up in advance. Of course, they're nuts, so they can stay for a long time. Throw them out on a party tray or wherever. They're good. I like to call them a snackatizer. And when I make them, I try not to make them too sweet. So a lot of people, when they do roast nuts, they put a ton of brown sugar in there, a ton of or honey or maple syrup.
And they're almost sticky when they're done.
Yep. I like, you're absolutely right. And you don't want to be walking around sticky fingers at a party, like sticking to napkins or something.
Well, it depends on what time of the night it is, right?
Yeah, or what type of party you're at.
And it's already went off the rails.
There we go, man. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
But I try to keep them more to the savory side. So I don't like them super sweet. A lot of times if you get something super sweet right in the beginning, it just kind of ruins your appetite for a savory dish afterward. I like to finish with dessert, not really start with it. So for that reason, I like to go lighter on the sugar.
Yeah.
Also a little bit lighter on the salt as well.
That's what I was just going to say, Matt, because a lot of times you grab a handful of roasted nuts and it's just all you can taste is salty nuts, nobody likes salty nuts. So, but these are the spice combination. It's excellent. And there is almost like a little bit of heat to it.
A little bit of that chipotle in there. And I think I would add a little bit more next time when I'm doing this. But again, I chose to use this particular rye in it because it's not a super spicy, not super peppery rye. Right. I didn't want to just blow people's palate out before they even get to a meal or while they're just snacking around. Yeah. So wanted to put something together that would play off the flavor of the nuts and the rye.
Yeah. Well, I think they're excellent, man. I've been, this is like my second handful that I've been enjoying already this evening. Like I said, though, they're not, not salty. They're not sweet. They're just a nice combination. It's almost like when you drink a nice rye whiskey and you have that lingering little bit of spiciness on your tongue. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that you need to add like more chipotle, or at least for my flavorings, Matt. I mean, because this kind of has just a little bit of a punch to it, a little bit of spiciness to it, but not too much, man. So, but speaking of ryes and spiciness, we should probably talk maybe a little bit about this Elvis Rye and what we're picking up on that. So, Chad, you've already drank your glass, man. So, Philip, we'll start with you because Matt is enjoying his next course at this point. So, Philip, what about you, man? What do you pick up on this Elvis Rye?
So it follows right through for me with the nose. I'm tasting like right on my tongue. I'm tasting a lot of apple, almost like a red Gala apple, and then I get the mint.
Okay.
And I feel like the finish is short. There's like zero burn in this to me. Like it goes down very easy.
Yeah, this is a 90 proof. I don't know if we
90 proof.
Yeah,
if we said it, but yeah, 90 proof. So,
and it does have that, like you were just talking about, that rice spice that lingers on your tongue. I feel like it gives you a good rice spice mouthfeel on the finish, but the flavors dissipate pretty quick. But you do get that a little bit of that spicy tingling on your tongue.
It's funny because I'm looking at it in the glass and it actually clings to the glass really nice. I'm kind of surprised by that, but the color, it's almost like straw, golden, very light. Very, very light. So coming back at the 3 years, I guess that's probably in 90 proof. They proofed it down, so you're going to get that. So Chad, what about you, man? What do you pick up in terms of the palate and the finish on this one?
I get a little bit of clove on there right up front. That dill kind of comes through, but then the mint hits. But like the spice that I get from it's a nice clove, a little bit of black pepper. I want to say maybe some nutmeg, but I'm not quite sure. But the mint is very, it's menthol. I don't really get a particular mint. I just get a weird cooling sensation from it.
I agree with that.
And then on my tongue, I agree with Philip, not much of a finish, but it just kind of, you get a little bit of spice. It's kind of almost like a cinnamon red hot. And then it's like someone put it on your tongue, took it off.
Yeah. So. What about you, Matt? Now that you've got your food work through there, man.
I think I got to echo what Philip was saying, where the nose really carries through on the palate with this one. I get a lot of the herbs right up front, picking up a little bit of that lemon grass or a little bit of citrus. Then I get a lot of mint. There's a lot of mint coming through on this one, a lot of spearmint, a lot of peppermint. It's almost kind of like buttery too.
It is.
Something like a buttery flavor and buttery feel to it. It reminds me of the Pinhook Right On.
Oh yeah, okay.
In that rye, it's very herbal.
Yeah,
it plays to a lot of flavor, whereas sometimes the 95.5s just have a bunch of heat and a bunch of punch. Mm-hmm. I think we all are agreeing. The finish is not super long, but that's okay. Sometimes you don't want like that super long spice that really burns down the backstretch.
No, I mean honestly, I think the only issue I'd have with this, I'm pretty sure it's like $50.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think. I could be wrong on that. It could be cheaper, but I'm pretty sure the press release that like when they announced it, it says like $48 or $49.99.
So, I mean, is that just becoming the new standard? I mean, is it just like, hey, we've got a 2 or 3 year old whiskey. Hey, it's $45-$50, and people are like, oh, okay.
We're craft. Parentheses, we're craft. So
it's craft.
It's craft.
We love our craft friends, man. But
I think with this one, they're probably going to get more of that celebrity market too. Like you're going to have people buy this because it's got Elvis's face on it. So I think they might be able to push that a little bit higher price than what maybe it should be priced at.
I mean, yeah, this is definitely going next to a Velvet Painting somewhere.
Yeah,
but
go ahead, Philip.
I think it's a great introductory rye. Like if someone wants to try to get into ryes flavor wise, this is a great, I think, because you get into some ryes and they're super spicy, but this I think is a good even rye for someone to try. But yeah, I think they're going we still got some Elvis fans alive. Let's try to.
Well, that's what I was going to.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. I mean, yes, Elvis. I mean, when I was 10 years old, he died. But my mom was a huge Elvis fan.
Wait, he's dead?
Well, rumor has it.
Him and Tupac out there cruising around.
I was going to say, yeah.
I've seen him a couple of times in Vegas. But
yeah, there you go. That's right. So that's a good question is, are there enough people out there that still, are there enough Elvis fans out there really that would still have enough of an appeal to people? What do you?
I mean, someone somewhere did market research on this. At least I hope so. I mean,
I would hope so too, right?
I mean, it's not like you just come out and say, "Hey, let's do a $50 3-year-old rye whiskey and hope it sells." But I could be wrong.
I would think like probably down at Graceland they'll sell the crap out of this stuff. But
yeah.
Well,
as far as just like here on the liquor store shelf, I don't think it would sell that well.
No, this is most definitely a gift shop purchase.
Yeah.
I think it'll attract a lot of one-time buyers because they see Elvis. If they've read a review or so, it's good. I'm not going to sit here and knock anything that's in the bottle.
No, it's a great little. I mean, I think at a $35 price point, it'd be an even better rye.
At $50, maybe if they came across at like 105 proof, 108, 107, like give us a little bit more. Like let's taste some of that heat.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more for the price.
Yeah.
Could be worth it, but I think it'll attract a lot of one-time, first-time buyers, hopefully repeat buyers for their sake.
For their brand. Yeah. I mean, but it's nothing. The market, the packaging is nothing special. I mean, it looks like they took a picture of Elvis. He's kissing or leaning over on his guitar.
Yeah, he's kissing it.
And it looks like they've just kind of run it through a laser printer and slapped it on a...
See, but part of me was like...
You like it?
That's why I like this.
Do you? Okay.
Because it's got that like...
Okay.
It's a poster you find in a gas station somewhere like in Tennessee and you're like, oh, this is cool. I'll pay $5 for that picture. And I kind of like that.
Okay.
But
yeah, it's got that old like 60s concert feel.
Yeah, almost like an old poster, like an old
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well then
it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. You millennials, man, what's up with that? You guys are...
We pay for the experience.
Nostalgia. Yeah. I mean, you do. I mean, there's no question about it, I mean, it's but it's just something I don't know. But I will tell you on the finish, for me, Matt, when we were over there with Chase at Prohibition and we were drinking that rye that he had, and you talked about jalapenos, and I don't know if it's your nuts in my mouth or if it's the rye whiskey, Matt, but
hopefully it's not my pork in your mouth.
there's a spiciness to it, and it's honestly on the finish, it's coming across. It's not peppercorn.
I could get like a bell pepper out of it.
I get almost like a jalapeno, like a heat that's there. It's not a cinnamon. It's not a peppercorn. So it just made me think of jalapenos and kind of flashed me back to when we were over there with Chase at Prohibition, and that was an MGP rye as well that we were drinking. So, but yeah, I mean, $50, I don't know, man. It's a hard sell for me, but the rye is, I mean, it's good.
It's a good rye.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any issue with it at all.
Yeah. And their marketing, I mean, Jesus, I've seen so many people on Instagram over the last 2 weeks that have been posting pictures of the bourbon and the rye. So they have obviously done their homework and reached out to brands, people that are on Instagram, and those bottles are popping up in pictures, I mean, pretty much daily, I think. So kudos to them for at least doing that. And here we are. I mean, we're talking about it on a podcast, right? So
on the holiday episode.
On the holiday special. Yeah. Well, and Elvis was a big, there you go. And I forgot because I was going to say for me on the palate, I'm picking up peanut butter and banana sandwich. But no, I'm really not. But anyway, too late for that joke.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, and I was going to say one thing real quick. So if anybody ever wants to doubt the crew about our nose and our tasting notes, this is off their website. It says aroma of sweet rye grassiness, followed by a hint of citrus and apple. And then it says flavor notes, toasted oak, butterscotch, vanilla wafers with a hint of pepper that leads to a beautiful, sweet, complex finish with a creamy mouthfeel. So I think we nailed it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. Because like I said, I didn't do any homework for this show at all.
No, I shot a video of it today because they sent me bottles. So I shot my review of it today. And in my video, I'm like, I did zero research on this.
Yeah, that's funny, man. So there you go, man. So, all right. Well, good. Thanks, Philip. I'm glad at least one of us is prepared. Matt was busy cooking, man. So Chad and I just don't have an excuse at all.
No, we do not.
We're just drinking. All right, guys, we're at the end of round one here. So let's take a quick break. But before we do, final thoughts on the Elvis Rye.
It's a hunk of burning love.
Oh, wow. I knew that was not going to come from me, but I knew that was coming from somebody. So, all right, Chad.
I like it. If the price is what I believe it is, I don't like it the price, but I think it's a good rye.
So in your rating scales, it would be like a 6. Well, I don't want to ruin your review because you did a review of it, right? So I'm not going to.
I mean, you can't. That's fine. That's fine. I'll post this about the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
It'd be about a 6 to 7. I mean, it's.
But the price would knock it down.
The price would knock it down.
Yeah, like a 4.
Yep, that's exactly right. Give it a 4.
That's
coming up to about a 5.
I mean, I'm getting used to your rating scale, man. So I'm getting there. Philip, what about you, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I have to echo what Chad said. I think it's a good rye. I enjoy it. Like I said, it'd be a good introductory rye for someone, but at the price point, which here looking at the website, it does say $49.99. So I would say at the price point, it's a little high, but if you're going to buy it because of the nostalgia and you open it, you're not going to be disappointed, I don't think, with the taste.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, fun little bottle, something fun to give to somebody, especially if they're an Elvis fan and they like to drink, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it has its place. And like you said, at Graceland, I'm sure they'll sell a ton of these. So yeah, I mean, it's a good rye, but the price point for me would be like, no, probably not.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, let's take a quick break and cleanse our palates. And I guess we'll come back with more. I guess if you guys want to hang around, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah,
all right, we'll do that.
I haven't cleaned my plate yet.
All right. Well, Elvis has left the building. So yeah. So let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with the Bourbon Life Holiday Special in just a minute. Spirits of French Lick crafts their spirits using only the finest agricultural product that has defined character, following their motto, respect the grain. They lead the way in representing the quality of the Hoosier artisan distilling process while paying tribute to its inseparable past. By implementing best practices from those early times, combined with modern touches, Spirits of French Lick has created a truly unique place in the industry. Spirits of French Lick products are distributed throughout Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri, and can also be purchased online through Sealbox at sealbox.com. Visit spiritsoffrenchlick.com to learn more information and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Three Chords line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The three-chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call Perfectly Tuned Taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them together. Find out more about the whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechordbourbon.com. All
right, everybody, welcome back for round 2 of the Bourbon Life Holiday Special. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, Matt is with me. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Hey, good, man. I'm doing well, Mark. I'm good. I'm back for course.
You are
number 2.
Oh, course.
Second
damn.
course.
I missed that one. That's a good one, man.
Always just sliding right in there, man.
Damn.
Yeah, and we got the Bourbon Life crew with us.
We do.
That's
yes.
right. Everybody's here. We got Chad from My Daily Bourbon. We've got Philip from Bourbon Hunting KY. And we are back for the second course of the holiday special.
Yeah.
Cooking with Bourbon.
Cooking with Bourbon and Matt. Yeah, cooking with Matt with bourbon. Now, this is great, Matt. The food is awesome, man. So, and I forgot to mention in the first round, and I should have done this because we talk about our Barrel Society birthday members, and I forgot to mention Matthew Fretwell has a birthday coming up this week, Justin Potts, and our very own Philip has a birthday coming up this week. Congratulations, Philip.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
That.
We won't ask how old you are, but happy birthday, dude. So, do you have any big plans or anything coming up for the weekend? You got anything you're going to be doing?
Not at all. Sitting at home. I think I'm actually going to crack open my Remus Special Reserve that Matt so graciously picked up when he was in Michigan. I think I'm going to crack that on the birthday.
Good on you, man.
Yeah. And did you get a bottle too?
I did.
Yeah, that's right. I think we all did. And Matt didn't get himself a bottle. So I was like, what the heck? I know. Matt's a good dude. So, yeah. So I'm sorry. I picked up a good bottle today, but it was limit one. So had I been able to pick up a bottle, Chad's rolling his eyes like, you lie like a dog. Had I been able to get you a bottle, though, I definitely would have done it. All right, guys. So let's talk about what we're going to drink in this round. And since I have the bottle in hand, I'll be the one to do that. So this is Smooth Ambler Old Scout Straight. Matt, you're a big fan of this, aren't you?
Yeah, some SAOS.
Yeah. See, I can't. Yeah, it's like, wait, what? SAOS. Yeah. So this is actually a barrel pick that was selected by the Hawaii Whiskey Mafia, which is really cool because there's a listener of ours, Derek. I'm going to kill his last name. It's Suzukawa. He is actually from Hawaii, and he listens to the show, and he's a big supporter and fan of ours. And Derek and his wife actually came to Louisville about 3 weeks ago, I think it was. So he actually lugged this bottle all the way from Hawaii.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, no kid, man. Isn't that awesome? Just to give it to me and Matt. So we really appreciate that. Now, I don't know if Derek was actually involved in the pick itself or not. I know he's in the restaurant and food industry over there in Hawaii, so he very well could have been. He may be part of the Hawaii Whiskey I like that, the Hawaii Whiskey Mafia. So shout out to those guys. But this is 120.2 proof. It's a 5-year-old straight bourbon. So I don't know. What do you guys think, man, in terms of the nose? But first, I guess I should say thank you, Derek, for bringing that bottle to us, man. We really appreciate it. But what do you guys get on the nose?
Good.
Go ahead. Yes.
No, Philip, you started.
Literally everyone at once.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I need to say, okay, what do you think, Chad? Yeah, sorry, guys.
I get a lot of caramel and oak right on the front, but honestly, I mean, I'll let the details go to Matt and Chad, but this is a beautiful nose. I mean, I immediately want to take a sip of it. It smells delicious.
Nice. Matt, what about you, man?
Yeah, I pick up a lot of caramel and oak on the nose. I got a lot of like buttered popcorn coming through with it, a little bit of cherry as well, and kind of like some leather. Okay. It's got a really mature nose to it. I think for 5 years especially.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the nose on this is pretty old. It's also got like a subtle nuttiness, like maybe some toasted pine nut or just like a subtle undertone of something nutty on it.
All right, so these guys, they're in West Virginia. I'm sorry, Chad. You know what? I didn't mean to jump in.
You go ahead. No.
I was just thinking. I was like, "Where's this from?" But it is distilled in Indiana, so they are sourcing because they actually, I guess, got away from that for a little while, right? Smooth Ambler, they were doing Indiana, and then they went to Tennessee, right?
They went to Dickel.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
But now they're back to Indiana, right?
They are, yes.
Yeah. So, but Smooth Ambler is out of Max Walton, West Virginia. And I don't know where that is, actually. Have you guys ever been up there?
Eastern side of the state.
Eastern side. So up there closer, getting more towards like up in the Panhandle.
I thought it was southeastern.
Okay.
I'm not. All I know is whenever I used to have to go to Beckley for my last job, every time I was there, I was like, I'm going to take a trip to Smooth Ambler, and then I'd work too much to do so because I would stay and it'd be like an hour and a half away, I think.
Okay, but if you're in Beckley, just from my childhood experiences, that's going down.
Yep.
Because you go down 71 or whatever. I can't remember, or the Turnpike, one of the two. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's going down south. So okay, southeast, great. All right, Chad. Sorry, man. What do you pick up on the nose?
I get a ton of brown sugar and like burnt caramel. I get that nice cherry note Matt was talking about. And it's a candied cherry almost, not like a cherry cola, but it's a nice sweet cherry. But I also get the oak. I'm getting just a hint of tobacco in there, like it's a sweetened, seasoned like pipe tobacco almost.
Yeah, man, that cherry is the first thing that jumps out at me.
Oh yeah,
and I love that. It's just funny because it seems like I'm becoming just a big fan of those bourbons that have those cherry dominant notes to them, and I don't know why. But for some reason, that it really has kind of become my flavor profile. When I can pick out cherries on a bourbon, it's like, oh yeah, I want to drink that for sure. But yeah, I do pick up the other notes. But looking at the glass, just as I look down at it, it's clinging all over the sides as well. So that's it's always
got a nice color to it.
Very nice,
as well.
Yeah, very nice color to it. Darker than more of an amber color, I would say.
I mean, I guess it is 120 proof, so it should have an.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not proof down to 90 like Elvis was for sure. So, all right, Matt. So let's go back into course number 2 here, and tell everybody what we have that we're going to be eating in this. Well, we've already been eating it, but what do we have?
Sure deal. So this is the main course. For the main course, I decided I wanted to do pork. So we are having a stuffed pork tenderloin. This is a recipe I've made different variations on many times, and actually the first time I've done it with bourbon. So this was with bourbon, and in the filling of the stuffed pork tenderloin, I sauteed down some shallot and dates and a bunch of spinach and sauteed that all down, and then put in some rosemary and thyme and some dried cherries as well. And then we tossed in a big old amount of bourbon. And for this, I used the Country Smooth bourbon was the bourbon of choice in this. So put that in there, sauteed it all down together, and made kind of like a thick stuffing in there. And I chose the Country Smooth because when I taste it, I get a lot of like apple kind of comes up front, and pork and apple go really well together. It's also got nice oak, and I think it's just a really flavorful, good bourbon, and a long finish of cinnamon as well, which I thought would be a nice little addition. So anyway, we take that, we throw it inside, and trussed it all up, tied it up, and on the outside, made just a little bit of a rub with some salt, pepper.
So you're rubbing your pork?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right, good. Just wanted to know, man.
So did Mark watch you rub your loin? Or?
He did.
Actually, I did in the kitchen. My wife was there too, so
yeah. The whole family helped me rub it.
It was awkward, but
yeah, it was a little awkward. But you know what? We got to where we needed.
We got it done. That's exactly right.
Yep. So then on the outside, some rosemary, some thyme, some cumin, coriander. I love pork and coriander. I think those two go really, really well together. Rosemary, cumin, thyme, a little bit of salt, pepper, kind of just a simple herb and spice rub. Then we toss that in the pan, sear it off real good, and then throw it in the oven at 400 and cook it down. And then I made a little bit of a sauce with the pan drippings, some maple syrup, a little bit of dried cherries in there, and some more of the Country Smooth. Cook that all together. And there's your sauce on top.
Matt, it's awesome, man.
It is very good.
Chad, what do you think?
I thought they were joking today when Mark and Matt in our group text said that Matt was going to cook dinner. I thought it was a joke, so I had tacos before I came over. So I'd already had dinner, and then I am walking up to Mark's door, and I'm like, "Oh, damn, that smells good. Someone's eating good tonight." Ring the doorbell, come in. I walk in. Oh.
They weren't kidding.
they were not kidding. So, yeah. So it's delicious. I've never used bourbon at all with pork. And I've not had pork loin in a long time, and I don't know why. But this is going to be something we're going to make at my house now.
Nice.
This is delicious. The filling, oh my God. I never thought I'd like that pairing of stuff. I never imagined would be.
You don't like to stuff your pork, basically.
Right. Typically
Yeah, I
not.
get it. Yeah.
I usually don't like to stuff my pork, but I will do that now. Thanks to Matt.
No, but I agree. When I make pork tenderloin, it's like, you throw it in a crock pot or you put it on a grill or whatever. You don't take the time to actually stuff it. So, but this is delicious. And, I kept seeing these little things and I'm like, are those little cherries? So I didn't realize it. I thought, am I just imagining? I'm like, where'd those come from? But I love the combination of the sweetness. Philip, I'm so sorry that you're not here.
I know. I missed out on all the pork rubbing.
You did. You could have watched Matt rub this pork and then you could have enjoyed some of it. But it is really good. Matt, in terms of prep time and everything, if somebody was going to make this, your recipe, I mean, how long would they need in terms of prep and then cooking and everything?
So making the stuffing of it probably took me 10 minutes, all told, cutting things up, getting it in the pan or the pot, getting it cooked down, trimming the pork tenderloin, cutting it, stuffing it, rolling it, and trussing it was maybe 10, 15 minutes. So this has a little bit of prep. This isn't just a throw it together and let it rip.
It's not like a fix it and forget it, right?
Yeah.
Throw it in your
so this does have a little bit of prep involved with it. And it is, unfortunately, since you are doing a lot of knife work, a fair bit of detailed prep. It's not like the nuts where you just mix everything together, toss it in the oven, and turn them a few times.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit more. But then we also had a side dish with this.
We did.
And that is another pretty simple one. So the side dish is inspired by that bottle that you have been given that you don't want to drink. But a coworker gave it to you or to your significant other because they know that you like bourbon, or you got it through a white elephant or a holiday gift exchange, and you just don't have it in you to get rid of it. Or I should say, to pawn it off on someone else. So for me, this was a bottle that my parents were given that they weren't going to do anything with. And I said, you know what, just send it my way. I'll figure something out. So this was Jim Beam Red Stag, which is...
I never had it until tonight, man.
Seriously. A black cherry infused Jim Beam bourbon. It is cloyingly sweet. If you drink it as is, Kool-Aid style sweet.
Yeah.
Doctors prescribe this stuff for a bad cough. I mean,
it tastes just like to me. It was a combination between a cherry cough syrup and cherry flavored Kool-Aid when I was a kid. Kind of somewhere in between those two. But yeah, it was different.
So, anyways, I use it to cook with, and I think it goes really well in Brussels sprouts. So the Brussels sprouts are a pretty simple, pretty standard Brussels sprout recipe. Got to have bacon in there.
Oh, yeah.
Cook that down with the bacon. Then I quartered the Brussels sprouts, and I actually pulled the bacon out, left the grease in the pan so that the bacon itself wouldn't burn. Put the Brussels sprouts in there. I like a good little bit of a char on them. They got to be a little bit burnt for me. So you throw that in there and then put the bacon back in. In this case, then we hit it with a good bit of the Stag. So the Jim Beam Red Stag, I should say.
Yeah. And you're generous with your pours, man, on your food. I was watching.
All that alcohol cooks off. So there's another thing be careful of, because you can...
Yeah.
Cause a fire.
Right. Yeah. Be careful with it.
Be careful especially if you're trying to flambe and catch it on fire.
Yeah. Watching you pour that while you were cooking it, I was like, holy shit.
But we're not open. I mean, we don't have a gas stove.
Yeah. There's no gas stove.
It was, so that was
which you have a glass top, which made me realize I too have a glass top. I can do that at home.
You can still do that at home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I have gas at home, and I have...
Matt has gas everywhere.
I have lost half an eyebrow and quite a bit of arm hair before in the past, trying to be fancy.
Hey, watch this, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we do that. We get it all cooked down, and then I like to add either some slivered almonds, or in this case, I had pecans on hand, so I added just some chopped up pecans and a little bit of mustard.
Yeah,
because I think mustard goes really well with Brussels sprouts, and especially with how fatty these are.
Yeah.
A little bit of acid to cut through there works really well. You could also use balsamic. I've used that in the past quite a bit as well. But this is a great recipe, quick, easy, cheap, simple, and a good way to get rid of that bourbon that nobody wants to drink, right? That adds a little bit of flavor, but you don't really want to drink it.
And it did. I mean, it was kind of funny because, you do, when you're cooking, especially when you poured that in, it took about 5 seconds, and then that aroma just wafted through the kitchen. I could smell the bacon and the Brussels sprouts, and then that cherry came over. But just as a combination of flavors now with the finished dish, I mean, there's just that slight hint. I pick up just the tiniest bit of that because I love mustard, and I mean, I absolutely love it. So I can pick up just the slightest touch of that. Did you have Brussels sprouts or not? Or you're not a Brussels sprouts guy, Chad? That's all right, man. But Matt, I loved them. I mean, they're delicious. They're great. And watching you prep it, I look at that because I don't cook that much. My idea of cooking is throwing something on the grill or put it on the smoker, and that's about the extent of it. But that was something I feel like I could do that. It wasn't going to take me a ton of time. It wasn't too complicated. I mean, watching you do it was fun. I enjoyed that. So very cool.
Yeah, great dish. Pairs well with all sorts of protein.
Yeah.
Would work well with steak. You could do it with chicken. You could even have them with fish if you wanted something with fish. Just change it around, maybe make the recipe a little lighter, but goes well with all sorts of protein, or just make them for yourself.
Yeah.
Just have a big old bowl of Brussels sprouts.
I'm telling you, man, do it. Over the last few years, I used to hate them as a kid, but I love them, man. I love Brussels sprouts. We throw them in the air fryer or put them in the oven and roast them. So they're really good. So, all right, guys, let's jump back and talk about this SAOS. See, I got it. the Hawaii Whiskey Mafia Old Scout. So, Philip, I'm going to call you out and ask you, what do you think in terms of the, look at he's clearing his throat, getting ready. Yeah. What are you picking up in terms of the palate and the finish on this one, man?
I definitely get the cherry that you all were talking about on the nose. I get it on the taste. I get some tobacco. I get some pepper, and then I also get like a bit of a peanut. It's not a strong peanut flavor, but I get it there a little bit. And I was going to go back to Matt. When he said buttered popcorn, I went back and nosed it again, and then now that's all I can smell the nose.
That's funny.
Buttered popcorn.
Yeah, the power of suggestion.
And yes, and it's got a nice long finish. I think it drinks a little. I think it drinks about the age it is, that 5 year. The nose is, I think the nose is more of a older bourbon than 5, but even at the 120 proof, I think it drinks about like a 5 year, but it's very good. I mean, I would pick this anytime.
Chad, what about you, man? What do you think?
I wholeheartedly agree about the, it drinks like a 5 year. The nose has a lot more like rustic and well-rounded notes going on. But that being said, it drinks like a really damn good 5 year. I get the fruit. I get a little bit of like a red licorice note in there. Kind of like a Four Roses kind of thing going on with there's a little hint of floral.
Okay.
Tons of tobacco. That tobacco on the nose transfers to the palate, and that brown sugar note just right at the end seals the deal for me.
What about you, Matt? You're like shaking your head in agreement.
I do. I agree with a lot of that. There's a good cherry right up front.
Yeah.
It's got a nice bit of heat, too. I think the proof really comes through with this. It's not a spicy rye heat that blows you out, but the proof adds a nice touch to it.
Yep.
I'm picking up like a sweet corn pudding.
Okay.
I think the brown sugar and the sweetness are really, really there in this, and the corn is coming through. It drinks really well. I think both Chad and Philip, what you've said about the age of 5 years, drinking like a 5 year, but nosing a little bit older, I think that's right on. Now, it's not to take anything away from this. I think it drinks really well for 5 years, and it has a lot of those really nice characteristics.
Yeah. And I have no idea, what the pricing would have been on this, but hey, it was a gift. So to me, the price is always right when it's a gift. But I agree, the cherry that pops out to me, from the nose to the palate. That brown sugar that you talked about, that sweetness, I love that. But man, there's that heat comes through, man. This is a higher proof bourbon when you drink it. There's no surprise, no hiding that. It's like, yeah, this is going to let you know it's 120.2 proof. But it's not overwhelming. It's not like alcohol overwhelming. It's just got a punch to it.
Yeah, there's no ethanol.
Yeah, so it's just a nice, like, hello, I'm 120 proof. Here I come. It's like, yeah, man, no doubt. So Chad, you had a couple. Well, shoot, yeah, let's talk about a couple things, man. You had some topics that we were talking about or thinking about talking about. No, man, we got a few minutes here we can talk about.
Okay. So just to throw this out there, do you think that, here, we'll do this one first.
Sounds good. I'm all for it.
If I give you guys $100,
yeah,
you have the choice of minimal 2 bottles.
Okay.
What would the perfect bar setup be for $100? So you need to, it's got to be multiple bottles, so minimum of 2.
Okay.
You can spread it however far you want to.
Gotcha. Man, that's kind of a tough question because you got to think, is this like a bar setup that we want to have to entertain other people with? See, I'm an attorney. It's like, now Chad, let's break this down a little bit.
Let's see here.
See here now, son. Let's go a little further with this. So would this be like my personal, if I had $100?
Your personal, if you had $100, what would you buy to start your bar?
That's a good point. I would say, oh man, that's thinking $100. That's
nothing's out of the question. It just has to be 2 bottles or more.
2 bottles or more. Mm-hmm. I want something high proof, but I don't want to kill my budget.
And that's hard to do these days.
It is. So I would say Old Granddad 114. Mm-hmm. I would have to put that out there, man. And we've not talked about that on the show because when we first started doing the show, I was all about old OGD 114. Like every episode, I'd mention that. And I've kind of gotten away from it. I've got like probably 7 or 8 bottles just tucked away because I was afraid that it would disappear.
There was that rumor for the longest time, like it's going away.
Yeah,
it's going away.
Yeah.
I did this. I've got 4 bottles at home.
Oh yeah, and it's only what $31, $32 maybe.
Yeah, cheaper than that.
Is it 29? Maybe
I saw it locally at Kroger for 26.5.
I was going to say I think it goes from like as low. I've seen it as low as 25 up to like 35. So.
Okay, I know Costco had a bunch of it the other day when I was in there. I didn't need any, but it was like I always get that impulse when I see it. I'm like, I'm like, no wait, I've got enough bottles at home. But I would have to put a 114 on there just because it's such a great proof, such a great price. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to just throw that 1 bottle for sure. So that puts me at $30, right?
Yep,
so,
we'll say $30.
All right, so somebody else has got to jump in, and I'll come back. So who else wants to go?
I've wrote down some here.
Philip's ready, man. Let's do it, Philip.
So I think if I'm gonna have some people over and I'm gonna stock a bar with $100, I would
no. This is just for you. We've changed the rules.
Well, a lot of these are my favorites too.
Okay, all right. There you go.
So I would say the Knob Creek, just the 9-year 100 proof.
Okay.
I think that is, you could find it anywhere, and it's a steal at $30. I mean, you got to get that.
Yep.
Then I would do the JTS Brown and the JW Dant.
Okay.
They're both 100 proof, but they're very good for their price.
Man, I bought a bottle of JTS Brown a couple of years ago, and I just wasn't that big of a fan of it.
You must be a Dant man like me.
Maybe. I need to try that because the JTS Brown, because it's Bill Bender. Bill Bender talks about JTS Brown on Instagram all the damn time, and I'm just like, man, it's just not. I just wasn't a fan of it, right? So,
and I like them both. I like JTS Brown and the Dant. They're different, but same proof. So I'd have both of those. I would say an Evan Williams Black Label.
Okay.
I would have that, and then I guess something in that. Because I'm getting close to my budget. I guess
this is $100.
Maybe a Buffalo Trace. Yeah, a Buffalo Trace, probably something, because the Buffalo Trace, everybody's gonna be like, oh well, let's just have the Buffalo Trace, next to the names that I just named off. So
gotcha.
That's the one that's still $25, and
that's true.
People think it's
Yeah, I agree, Matt. You're looking at the bottles over there.
I know.
And you're thinking
I'm really scouring my mind here.
Your gears are turning.
They are.
All right, Chad, you can keep thinking then. Chad, what about you, man? You've obviously thought about this because you came up with the idea.
Yes, and I've got my calculator out so I can calculate it on the spot right now. So I would start with Evan Williams single barrel. That ranges from anywhere about $23 to $30. So we'll say 25.
Okay.
86.86 proof single barrel. That's my number 1 replacement for Blanton's. Love that bottle. I would say Maker's Mark. That's the first whiskey I ever like religiously drank at 19 years old.
Yeah.
So that's like $24. I would then agree with J.W. Dant. That's a nice $15, 100 proof, Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. Can't go wrong there. From there, like Philip said, Buffalo Trace, because everyone just wants Buffalo Trace. It's something fun to have on the bar. But if I didn't do Buffalo Trace, if I wanted to include something to hit my max budget for like a barrel proof, I'd say either Knob Creek, Rare Breed, or Old Granddad.
Yeah, gotcha. So, good choices, man. All right, Matt. I could answer, but I'm still at one bottle because I'm still thinking. But what are you getting, man?
It's hard to not go with Old Granddad 114, but just for the sake, since you did, I will not.
I'm sorry.
I will
have stolen that.
Abstain from it. So, is this current production bottles? So I can't do Old Trusty. I can't do.
No, you can do it, man.
You can. That's why I said any.
I knew that's what you're going to say.
Any bottle. If you wanted to say Old Rip Van Winkle 10-year and benchmark, you could do that.
Okay.
No, I know what he's going to get.
Yeah, well, I've got to do. Yeah,
you've got to do the Heaven
corner.
Yeah, I got to do the Heaven Hill 6-year bottle and bond white label.
Yep.
Old Trusty peanut butter pie. You got to start off with that.
That's right.
$12 well spent.
Yep. No
absolutely.
Yes.
I think so. And then, there's got to be at least one rye in there for me.
Oh, I didn't even think about rye.
I know that's a good point, man. That's
I have to do it, and I think I have to go with the Pinhook Right On.
Okay.
So yeah, we tried that early on in our podcasting career here.
That's right.
I still go back to it all the time.
It's a solid rye, man. There's no question about it.
Yeah, no doubt. So now I'm left. Maybe I'll give myself $25 left.
Yeah, about 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, daggone. Where do you go from there? I wish
we'll
I
let
had,
you shop Total Wine prices too.
I wish I had left myself a little bit more budget, because I think I would say small batch select from Four Roses.
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
but I did not leave enough.
That's like $50.
Yeah, $50.
That's a
but
good one.
I might be able to squeeze like a small batch or maybe an on-sale single barrel Four Roses.
If you hit Kroger on the right week, you can get that. You can get that for like $25.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I think I have to go with whatever.
Yeah.
Four Roses is the cheapest at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh damn! See, like I thought I was prepped, and then you're like rye. Oh.
I know, man. It's like, oh shit, that threw a whole curveball to me, because Matt has made me into a rye drinker now, man. So
I love me some rye, but yeah, I'd have to sub out and do like a Wild Turkey 101 rye or something.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe do a Wild Turkey 101 rye just to have that, because it's going to be a solid rye. Oh, yeah. I would probably buy. I know it sounds crazy to say it, but a Weller Special Reserve. I know it's not a great bourbon, but I love it as a mixer, and I love making hot toddies, especially this time of year.
I never made a hot toddy with it until I heard you say that on an episode early on, and then it's great in hot toddies, and I don't know why, but I also like it in mules. It's sweet.
It's sweet, that wheat, man.
Yeah,
it's a great mixer, and people are like, what, the people that are new to it, when you say you use Weller Special Reserve as a mixer, they're like, what? But it's like, trust me, give it a year or so and you're going to understand.
It took me 3 years to kill an old label handle. Like I had the old label handle.
Yeah.
And I used it for cocktails for 3 years.
Yeah.
When you could find it for $25, $26 for the handle.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I think I paid like $26.
That's the thing.
$99 at Walmart or something.
Yeah.
So assuming you can find it, but that's what I would definitely get a Special Reserve, just to have it as a mixer for myself, because I love it as a mixer. The 114. So what would that put me at? 30 plus. What are we going to say?
You're right, we'll say $50.
$50, right? Okay, yeah. So I'd have to get a Wild Turkey rye, the 101 rye, right? So that's what, $20, 30.
That's like 28. So
okay,
yeah, you're sitting like 20, 25 left.
Oh man, all right. So if I could find because I was thinking the small batch select too, man. But I'm like, God, that's $50. So that's going to blow my budget to get that. So if I could find could I find a single barrel at all?
I mean,
for Kroger, right?
Kroger,
$25 possibly.
If you can find it on sale, they can't make money on it.
Yeah. How much is the small batch? Is like 30? I don't know what small batch even is. The Four Roses. I'm not as
5 to 28. I mean, because usually the single barrel's 40, but I have seen it as low as $24.99 at Kroger.
Yeah, I see. Because I love Four Roses stuff, and so I would probably, like Matt said, whatever the cheapest I could find. Hopefully a barrel pick somewhere that's got a Kroger barrel pick. I mean, they had them over in Louisville a couple months ago, and it was like $25 or $29, I think. So I'm like, all right, so that would be my choices. I think we're good.
Man,
awesome
you
question.
all got me thinking too. I was gonna say, after you all brought up like the Wild Turkey 101, I know, and you all brought up Kroger. I picked up one time. It was a Russell's Reserve, the 10-year white labeled one. I think I got it for like $27.
Oh man,
yeah.
So it was something cheap. I mean, for a 10-year, it was really cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, now I'm thinking Eagle Rare because I love Eagle Rare.
You know what? And I didn't even think Eagle Rare. It's like $5 more than Buffalo Trace.
I know. Yeah. Eagle Rare, you get, if you can find it, like $30 maybe.
Yeah, dude.
So that's a solid 10-year-old single barrel, man. Well, I guess it's not a single barrel, but it is pretty much a single barrel, right? So, all right, guys, we're at the end of round 2. I'm sorry, course number 2. So we should probably take a break, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with more of the Bourbon Life Holiday Special. Jingle, 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 jingle. I feel bad, Matt. I didn't do any sound effects, man. But we'll be back in just a minute. Everybody sit tight. We'll be right back. Located just east of Lake Tahoe and the Sierra Nevada mountains, Frey Ranch Distillery was founded by fifth-generation Nevada farmers. Our grain-to-glass bourbon is made using a 4-grain mash bill, including a non-GMO corn, rye, wheat, and barley, all of which is 100% sustainably grown on the 1,500-acre Frey Ranch. And our commitment to excellence shows with a recent gold medal win at the 2020 Whiskeys of the World and USA Spirits competitions. Find out more at www.freyranch.com.
The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise right here in the heart of bourbon country. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day that features an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. Be sure to check them out online at thestavekentucky.com or at Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky.
All right, everybody, welcome back for the third course of the Bourbon Life Holiday Special. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, here in the live in the Bourbon Life Studios, my good friend, my co-host, my partner, Matt. Matt, how you doing, man?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great, man. I'm back. We're here for dessert.
Yes,
on the Bourbon Life Holiday Special, and we've got the crew with us. Philip from Bourbon Hunting KY is calling in. We've got leftovers saved for him in a doggy bag, so don't worry. We're going to get you fed.
Yeah.
And we've also got Chad from My Daily Bourbon here as well.
I like the way, Matt's a Michigan guy, but I like the way he says hunting because it's got that Kentucky twang to it, man.
That's right. It fits. Yeah, he said my name perfect.
He does. Bourbon Hunting Kentucky, man. I like that. So
I would sound like Bourbon Hunting Kentucky.
I have to enunciate clearly so everyone understands. So, all right, Matt, you got the bottle for this round, man. So why don't you tell everybody what we got poured up for this round?
I would love to.
Thank you.
Poured up this round, we have the 2021 limited release of Maker's Mark's Wood Finishing Series. This is the FAE02. So this is their most recent, so the final quarter of 2021 release of the Wood Finishing Series. This is clocking in at 109.1 proof for 54.55% alcohol by volume. And the tasting notes on the bottle will just tell you what they say. It says a texture-forward expression that's full-bodied with notes of toasted oak and a rich, creamy finish. The stave details, this is 10 virgin toasted French oak staves.
10 virgins. This is nice, though. I shouldn't get ahead, but the nose is very, very nice. But now we had Jane Bowie, who is the Director of Innovation, Master of Innovation. She had a name. I can't remember what the official title is, but Jane oversees their wood finishing series program. So we had Jane on the show earlier this year, along with my friend Amanda Humphreys, who does a lot of their education stuff out there, cocktails and whatnot. So, but Jane and Amanda talked to us about this process. Matt, this is kind of a unique year for them because in the past they put out the RC6 and they're naming this. I don't know why they do this, but they came out with Maker's 46 and Bill Samuels Jr. was like, yep, that's what it's going to be, Maker's 46. So they kind of kept this whole weird naming convention through this wood finishing series. So the first round was RC6 2 years ago. Last year it was SE4X PR5. And then earlier this year, they put out the first release. And this is the first year they've done 2 releases in the wood finishing series in the same year. So they did FAE 01 and this is FAE 02. And I'm thinking this year, this was supposed to, each batch highlights something different, right? And I think, was this one focused on the yeast?
So per the back of the bottle here.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I'll just go ahead and we'll get to the last paragraph here, which talks about what we've got going on this year. This is Stave Profile FAE 02. So the first release, FAE 01, is fruit forward with more focus on barrel extractives.
Yeah, extractives. Yep.
Okay. The second release, FAE 02, is texture focused to really highlight the Maker's Mark mouthfeel. It's round, creamy, and mouth coating. Enjoy. So I guess they were focusing on the stave profile here to go with mouthfeel on this one.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting conversation, and I don't know if that's going to be their new thing year after year, if it's going to be 2 releases in this wood finishing series every year or not. But I mean, maybe that's going to be their new jam. But the naming convention that they use, these stave profiles, RC6, SE4, PR5, FAE 01 and 02, it sucks.
I'm proud of you for remembering all those, Mark. That's
impressive. Yeah.
Again, I think I said it when we had Jane and Amanda on. It sounds like the names and models of Mazdas, not bourbons.
You did. I'm pretty sure you said that. And Jane agreed. I mean, they're both just like our naming conventions just suck. I mean, it's just awful.
They do suck. And what's funny to me is when the RC6 came out, I am I'm not a musician, but as a guitar player, I have found my love for Ibanez guitars. And Ibanez has a long history of just naming their guitars after the model number, the wood type, and the finish. So you'd have a 420 EX, FA, whatever.
Gotcha.
So it makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's hilarious that's how Makers does their stuff.
Maker's Mark is doing the same thing. So let's talk about the nose. Matt is devouring his dessert in this course. So we'll jump over to Philip. Philip, what do you pick up on the nose on this one, man?
I get a sweet nose to it. I can't pinpoint the fruit. I know it's not like an apple, and maybe Chad or somebody else can pick it up, but maybe I get a little bit of cherry. It's a delicious nose. It smells really good. I do get the oak, I guess whatever the FAE, whatever wood that is.
The stave profile. It's the 10 virgins. It's the 10 virgin oak.
I do get a little bit of the floral notes.
Gotcha.
But I'm having a hard time pinpointing what it is on this one.
Yeah, it's funny because I went in the first, just took a nose of it, and it hit me as cherry, and I don't know if I just have cherries on my brain now because we talked about it last round, and I'm trying to just automatically pick out cherry. But I also actually picked out a little bit of butterscotch on this one in the sweetness. It came across a little bit of butterscotchy to me. And I guess I get a little bit of the oakiness, but it's not like in a smoky way. It's kind of weird. I can't explain it, but yeah.
And I think I do get a little bit of pie crust in there.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of pie crust here, but
I'm not eating pie, so I'm not influenced by what I'm eating.
All right, there you go. All right, Chad, what about you, man? What do you get?
I get that cherry as well, Mark.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
You are not crazy.
Okay, good.
Nice toasted oak. Quite the dusted powdered sugar. Almost like a funnel cake. Kind of, sorta.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of doughiness in there because the wheat. It's like a fresh baked bread.
If you're from Eastern Kentucky, you call those Elephant ears.
Elephant ears. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what they were called where I grew up too.
Okay. Just so the rednecks out there understand, we're talking about elephant ears.
But it's a very dessert laden nose. I mean, this may sound weird, but I get almost like the smell of melted ice cream. Like whenever you just have ice cream in a bowl and what's left, like that, a little bit of vanilla is in there and some brown sugar. Not that I put brown sugar in ice cream, but I'm just getting.
What a great combination. Put some more sugar in it.
That would be a really good combination, actually.
Yeah. Matt, what about you, man?
So I first have to say I love the color on this. It's got a really, really nice dark color to it. But I get nice toastiness right up front, good toasted oak right on the nose. And then for me, this is berries Jubilee.
Okay.
I get raspberries, I get strawberries, get salmon berries, which I actually know what a salmon berry tastes like.
A what?
A salmon berry.
Never heard of that in my life.
Oh, they're awesome.
That's kind of fishy to me.
When I was working in Alaska, we were picking them wild off bushes as we were bushwhacking through the tundra.
I'm not even going to touch it. Not going to touch it. I've never heard of a salmon berry, but
All right, look it up.
so what do they taste?
Try me.
What do they taste like?
It's subtle. It's not as pronounced as a strawberry, not as pronounced as a raspberry in terms of like the ruby, rosy, juicy fruit.
Gotcha.
More of like a subtle red fruit flavor.
Okay.
But anyway, the nose on this, like some plum is coming through, a little bit of fig. It's got a really juicy, really sweet, great nose on it. Picking up toasted sugar. I think, Chad, you had said something about ice cream. You got me started to think about like sherbet, picking up kind of like sherbet flavors as well. But I think the nose on this, I think is really, really inviting. Very dessert-like you were saying, Chad, but of the limited release series that they've done, this is my favorite nose.
Is it?
So far?
Okay. And
do we know an age on this one?
I'm assuming it's regular makers, so probably 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was looking at it next to this 5-year from the Old Scout, and it's got a darker, richer color.
Yeah,
or at least here what I got left.
And it's proof down a little bit. Well, I mean, it's cast strength because they barrel at 110, right? Makers goes in at 110, and this is 108. Was it 109?
9.1.
Okay, 109.1. So it lost a little bit, but they finish it in those with the secondary staves.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, it's just a short period of time, isn't it, Matt? Just a few months.
Yeah, I've always heard like maybe 6 months.
6 months is
like
what I was thinking too.
approaching
Yeah,
the upper echelon of that.
and they do it in that underground bunker rickhouse that they have. Isn't that crazy? If you guys go back and listen to our episode with, I guess it was when we had Denny on the show last year. He was talking about them deciding to build the underground bunker to age things in. So Matt, speaking of this tasting like dessert, let's get back to that. Talk about what we got.
Yeah, so we have dessert, and dessert tonight is an old-fashioned apple pie.
Nice.
So I will be the first to tell you that baking is not my specialty. I've done it, but I tend to wing ingredient amounts and measurements a little bit too much when I cook for baking. So I really had to buckle down and actually follow a recipe on this one. So it kind of pained me to do it, and it didn't turn out that great. But anyway, so
it turned out great, man.
Oh, it's delicious.
I wanted to make an apple pie, but a little bit of a twist on it was doing an old-fashioned apple pie. So for this, I chose a rye, and we went with the Riverset Rye, which we had on the show late season 1, I think it was.
I think so. BR Distilling, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. So I chose this because it does have a nice appley nose to it, but it also has a little bit of kick, a little bit of heat to stand up as well. So for this recipe, we took the apples and, first I made, and I did do this one with diet sensitivity in mind. So this crust is completely gluten-free and dairy-free. So if it sucks,
it's delicious, man.
If it sucks, that's why. So
I got a mouthful. I'm like, this is awesome.
No, I've never had, and I told you, Me and I'm not supposed to drink beer, but me and wheat and dairy do not.
We've ruined that tonight.
Oh yeah, we have. But best gluten-free dessert I've ever had. Gluten-free anything I've ever had.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, Matt.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So anyway, we
I think Matt's blushing, Chad. What do you think? Philip, you can't see it. I should take a picture of Matt blushing.
You should.
Made a pie crust first, but then we took apples, cut them up, and I soaked those in the rye with just sugar and some lemon juice as well, and let those sit for probably a half hour or so. I was making the pie crust and getting that all rolled out and refrigerated, getting everything ready. And I also put a couple dashes of bitters in there as well. Then we just followed a pretty simple apple pie recipe, so kind of made a cinnamon slurry with some non-dairy butter as well, and then sauteed the apples down in some more rye, or cooked off what was left in that bowl just to get them soft. Then I added in some dried cherries and some more bitters to kind of really accentuate that old-fashioned recipe. And then we threw it all together, tossed her in the oven, and I brushed the crust with a little bit of bitters and an egg wash as well.
Nice.
On top of the crust to try to give it a little bit of color and a little bit more of that bitterness, that bitters flavor in there as well. So, and that was the pie.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I was dipping it in the sauce from the pork loin. It's so good with that sauce from the pork loin.
That's crazy.
I don't know
man.
what made me do it, but I tried it. I ate half of the sauce that I had from the pork loin that has been eaten with just apple pie.
With the apple pie. Well,
it's a good pairing.
Yeah, Philip, I'm sorry that you're not here to enjoy the gluten-free, dairy-free apple pie, which I'm just shocked that it's gluten-free and dairy-free, man. I know,
That's
Matt.
all right. I'm gonna get my doggy bag later.
I know
We'll get you taken care of. Don't worry.
Matt was concerned because it wasn't the prettiest looking pie. But man, anything gluten-free, it's my wife does a lot of gluten-free stuff for me, and I know it's extremely difficult to bake with gluten-free bread or
it's horrible.
flour or whatever products. And so, yeah, but no, the taste on this, Matt, and it comes across with that hint, the sweetness. Yes, it's got apple to it, but it also has that hint of the old fashioned coming through, man. There's that. It's so disguised though. The bitters, the cherry, it's so faint, but it is there. But it does it. When you drink an old fashioned, you get that sugary sweetness from the mix that they put in it. But then you also get a little bit of the cherry, obviously, and I mean all that comes through with that a little bit of the bitter. It comes through to me, man.
Oh yeah. No, delicious.
Yeah, look, Chad's a big fan, man. So well done, Matt.
Hey, thanks, guys.
So now, in terms of prep, and I know he's getting ready to take another bite, but I'm so sorry.
I'll wait.
Sorry, Matt. So in terms of prep, well, I mean, it sounds like a pretty involved process, but
yes.
Okay.
If you're making the pie crust, a lot of people really fear making pie crusts, and it's not the first couple times one does it, you're bound to mess it up, and that's okay. But if you're making the pie crust itself, then you're going to add a little bit more time in it because you have to make the pie crust, and then you also have to refrigerate it for a little bit of time beforehand and then roll it out afterward. And so just be prepared if you're doing pie crust from scratch. If you're not, there's no problem in that. I have bought many pie crusts in my day.
sure.
Otherwise, pretty simple. Just cut up your apples. I did just a thin julienne slice on them and soaked them for a while. And Julienne. Soaked them in the rye, sugar, and a little bit of lemon and the bitters. And then you just make this other slurry, kind of cook them all down, throw it together, and let it bake for, I think it baked a little over an hour. So prep time is not too terrible if you've got pie crust already taken care of. Otherwise, it does take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Okay. So if somebody wanted to go out and buy a pie crust, they could do that.
Yeah.
But still do this pie. And we Matt, I'm trying to think. I guess
recipes.
We'll figure something out. We'll have the recipes right somewhere, somehow.
Yeah. See, I knew you were gonna ask me this. I have my whole recipe sheet in front of me, and there is not a single measurement on it. It just has ingredients. That's just how I cook.
We anyway,
I'll make it work.
This is the Bourbon Life holiday special. We're eating food and it's delicious, but you can't make it.
The master distillers never give up their mash bills. So.
Oh, well, that's true. That's true. So this could be our own personal holiday special. Just Matt showing you how you can utilize bourbon and rye.
I'll put together recipes if people would like.
If people would like it, yeah, you can reach out. Matt'll take care of you guys. There's no doubt about it. But Matt, I mean, you've done a great job tonight. I've been impressed with everything, man. No doubt about it. But this dessert, this is definitely special. No doubt about it. So let's talk about the bourbon some more, guys. What do you think? Who wants to go first? Matt's eating his pie, so Chad, go ahead, man. Chad's got a mouthful of pie. Phil,
why don't you go, Mark?
I'll talk. Let's see. Well, I haven't had a drink because I've been talking so much. Philip, let's go. Let's go to you, Philip. Throwing it over to you.
So I get the cherry, and I get like a caramel apple. Mm-hmm. It's a very dessert bourbon.
Yeah,
it pairs really well. It's got a nice finish. The 109, it drinks, I think, lower proof than that. It's really good. If someone's trying to introduce yourself to higher proofs, this was definitely a good launching off bourbon.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, it almost reminds me kind of. Well, I mean, I guess technically it is a double oaked because it's finished. Because I'm like, they've got the additional staves in it, but it kind of reminds me of like a 1910 or a Woodford double maybe, where it's or a double oaked, I should say. Where you get that double oak finishing. The oak comes through to me. It's not overpowering, but I agree. The proof point, I don't think it drinks at 109. I think it drinks much easier in my impression. But yeah, some of that cherry comes through, the oak comes through. Again, with this maker, sometimes, I get a little bit of spiciness to it, which just surprises me for it being a wheater. But I get the spiciness on the palate, which I enjoy. And I'm assuming that just comes from the wood mostly, but pretty nice. All right, Chad, now that you've got your pie taken care of.
Now that I've eaten the last one of pie. I like it. So originally what I wanted to do was not drink the 02 until I had the 01 and 02 together for my own review, which I've not done.
Oh man, sorry about that.
But the weekend we went to BBC I had it there, so I was like, all right, just throw it out the window. The palate, I do enjoy it. It is very dessert laden. I get a lot of brown sugar. The light fruit note comes through on there for me.
Salmon berries.
Yeah, salmon, tons.
I'm gonna have to find a salmon berry now, Matt, because
loads of salmon berries.
I really want to know what a salmon berry.
Me too. I've never heard of it.
It actually tastes more like lingonberries now that I think about
it. These guys, man, these restaurant guys, man, these foodies. God.
See, if I hadn't been to IKEA, I wouldn't know what a lingonberry is. So
I don't even know what it is.
It's a Swedish berry, I think.
All right.
That's all I know. I mean, I've been to IKEA.
Okay, so that's okay. I got you.
They have them there. But
lingonberries are good.
Everybody knows but me. All right, that's all right. I'm an old guy. I'm a Gen Xer. We don't care, man. Give me a strawberry, all right? What else you get, Chad, besides the lingonberries?
Tons, and I mean just a lot of like toasted oak from those French oak staves. A lot of spiced caramel. I love French oak. It is my favorite oak of all. Just that spiced caramel, spicy vanilla you get from it kind of just reminds me of like a dulce de leche kind of dessert.
Yep.
A little bit of chocolate in there, and just hint of red fruit to kind of top it all off.
Nice. So we now know Chad loves French wood. That's awesome. So Matt, what about you, man? What do you pick up? What do you pick up on the palate and the finish?
It's really, really creamy.
Yeah.
I think they really hit it right on with the creamy texture and mouthfeel they got on there. There's a lot of toasted oak too. The oak, toastiness comes through on it. I get a lot of toasted sugar, a lot of bruleed sugar on this. And then for me, this is just really juicy, sweet fruit. I'm thinking like strawberries covered in sugar.
Yeah.
Like it's just really sweet. But then it does, Mark, you were saying it has a little bit of spice. It does. I'm surprised to it.
Yes.
And almost finishes with like a little bit of a menthol type minty feel on the mouth, on the roof of my mouth.
Yeah, I think it drinks hotter than 109.
I would agree with that. And I think it's absolutely excellent. I could stand to drink a whole lot of this.
Yeah, see, that's why. See, I didn't think it drank as hot as 109.
Oh, I would put it like 118, 120.
Really?
Ish.
Philip, what do you think, Philip?
I don't think it drinks as hot, but now I will agree with Matt that if I had 20 bottles of this, it wouldn't be enough. It's delicious. And I'm not going to lie. When you handed me the samples today, I was excited because this one was in there. Because after tasting it down when we did the photo shoot, it's delicious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So just so everybody knows, we did a Bourbon Life Crew photo shoot down at Bardstown Bourbon last weekend, I guess. Not this past, but, well, it'll be 2 weekends ago when this comes out, right? So,
good time.
Man, we had a great time down there. Big shout out to Dan Calloway and Bardstown Bourbon for letting us come down there and go over and hang out in Pete's place, the Rick House bar that they got there, and then hang out in the actual Rick House that's attached to it and kind of just run amok.
We just kind of had free reign.
It was great, man. It's like you guys just take pictures, do what you need to do, and we had a great time, man. So we had Bill Cole, who's a photographer here in Lexington, that joined us, came down, took our pictures, and did a great job, man. So looking forward to getting all that up on the website here soon. But yeah, we had a good time. If I could do that every weekend, I think my life would be pretty complete.
Oh, heck
yeah. Sign me up.
So that's what Philip was referring to about the trip. And Chad actually mentioned it down at, we had, I took this bottle of FAEO2 down there and we cracked, I think Chad cracked it.
I did.
Yeah, you did, man. You're like, give me that bottle.
No, that was me. Chad was trying to hold out.
No, yeah,
Chad wanted to do the review, and
okay,
we got about 2 steps in the door, and
Matt's like
looking to crack some wax.
Yeah,
yeah. I think I started out with the birthday bourbon, and Matt's like, "This Maker's is really good," and I was like, "Okay."
We had some good bourbons, man. I had that birthday bourbon that I was lucky enough to pick up, so we had that and had that Maker's, and I took some Elmer because that's Bill's favorite. So he got to have him a little bit of Elmer Tea Lee while we're down there. So, gosh, guys, I mean, we're at the end of course number 3 already.
Well, let's get Philip's got a challenge for us, right?
That's right.
Shoot, that's right. He had the dessert challenge. Go ahead, Philip. I'm sorry, man.
It's a dessert challenge.
Yeah.
So, so I've been thinking about it for a while, and I've decided that I'm going to do the Buffalo Trace 5K. I think they usually do it around the 4th of July. So I figured why not challenge the rest of the Bourbon Life Crew guys to see if y'all wanted to do it with me. I know Matt's probably on board for sure, but
Matt,
I wanted to see it.
Matt could do it backwards. He would run it backwards and still beat us all.
So, I used to run back in the day, and so I've decided I was going to try to start getting back into it, and I thought, why not challenge
I've never ran
the crew to do it. So,
man, I'll do it, Philip. I'll do it, man. I'll do the 5K with you.
I mean, I'll do it. I've never ran.
All right. Philip, here's
so
the fun.
we can make a 4th of July episode out of it, and we'll record there if you all want to. And
can we drink before we run the 5K, or do we have to run the
5K?
I'm gonna do what Jared from Wilderness Trail does. I'm gonna drink while I run.
Yeah, man, that's a great. Yeah, he does. That's
flask
right.
it.
Hey,
yeah,
I live less than a mile from the distillery, so you can drink as much as you want. We can stumble over there.
Where you going, Phil? I'm running home.
I think that would work. I think we could do that, man. Matt, what do you think? Would you be up to doing that with the crew?
Yeah, I have to see what my schedule looks
His
like
race schedule
at that point.
That's true.
Yeah, it'd be a great time. And
He would be embarrassed to run with us.
No
way.
He could. Everybody runs their own pace, right? So
now, unless they change stuff, I know, like when it's an in-person race, I know the last 2 years they've done virtual, but the in-person races, Matt might be running. The top 3 spots get paid. So
there you go, Matt.
I'm not going to be in the, I know I'm not going to be in the running for money, but yeah, Matt might make a little bit of money. So
yeah, man, a sub-3 Boston marathoner could definitely get up there and make a little cash. And you can go spend it in the gift shop buying bourbon.
There you go.
Well, I'm in, Philip. That's a great challenge, man. And if anybody else out there wants to join us, we'd be happy to have you. So let's do it. I'm going to do it. Philip, I'm in, Philip.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Yeah, and if there's anybody else out there that wants to join us, shoot me a message, and I'll kind of keep a list, or whatever.
Yeah, they can email us or whatever.
Know who to expect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So email the website or.
That's a great idea. As we get a little bit closer to it, I'd be happy to put out like kind of a training plan or something to anybody that wants to get involved on this as well.
Yes,
sure.
Please do.
If people are looking forward to it, or looking
you
for
could do
something like that.
couch stuff, kind of like a couch to 5K, right? 9 weeks, 10 weeks, maybe something like that.
Yeah, we should do that.
You could do that, man. Trust me, you could do it. If I could do it, Dad, 8 years ago, you could do it. Trust me, man.
I mean, I used to skateboard like crazy, but I've not used both legs at once in a long time.
You walk every day, man. You're good. All right, guys. So, all right, Philip, I'm just going to say challenge accepted. Thank you for that. That's cool, man. We'll definitely keep that in mind and invite people along for the ride with us as we do that. So, guys, final thoughts on this Maker's Mark FAE02.
My favorite of the finishing series.
RC6, because it had a little bit of everything, with this FAE02 is...
Yeah.
I'd have to have them next to each other to really say for sure, but it's damn good.
Yeah. I would say, just from initial thoughts, I'm still going to go with the RC6. But like you said, I think if I put them side by side, I'd be curious, because this one, it's really good. There's no doubt about it. So, Philip, what about you, man?
I say if you see it, buy it. For sure. It's delicious.
Yeah. And I can't remember, honestly, I hate to say, do you know what the retail is on this, Chad?
I think it's about $60.
Okay.
On average. Well, like midline.
Right. That's what I was thinking. It was like 59. I can't remember, but I'm thinking that's what I paid for it. So definitely a good bottle to pick up and have. And if you're into that, because I have a bottle of all the wood finishing. Well, I don't have the RC06 or the RC6.
Oh.
I know. I have a little sample bottle of it. They sent me
6 of them.
No, you're going to have to take care of me for that.
I think I can do that.
All right. So, Matt, the holiday special, man, any advice for our people out there that love to bake or cook and getting ready for the holidays? What would you say to them?
Oh, if I had to just impart any little bit of wisdom here, food is a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to bring people together. And that's one of the reasons I love it so much. It's a good way for me to be creative and to express the creativity and my love for entertaining and bringing people together. But just like we always say with bourbon, it's not about what's in the bottle. It's about who's around it. So don't go too overboard if you don't want to on your food. Just remember, it's all about the people that you're bringing together to share the menu with and the dishes with, rather than the dish themselves. So go big, go fun, go hard at it, but enjoy your family, enjoy your guests, and enjoy who you're sharing it with most of all.
That's great advice, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And
Absolutely.
I'm impressed with the food tremendously, but I have to say I'm more impressed with the fact that you wore your apron
the entire time
through the entire show, Matt. I wish I had a picture, man, but that's awesome.
This made me realize, damn, I want an apron.
Yeah, it's like Matt is like...
I took my pants off about 40 minutes ago, so... but I got the apron on.
Back to the old days. Matt
Yeah,
was
exactly.
like pants free. Matt was like no pants, Matt. So that's awesome.
Now everyone's got to think back to about 40 minutes ago when we were talking about spicy nuts and
rubbing your pork. Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, what was going on? What was going on in the Bourbon Life Studios tonight, guys? So, all right. Well, man, this has been a fun show for our holiday special. We appreciate you guys listening. Guys, before we wrap it up, any final thoughts? Philip, throw it to you, man.
All three pours tonight were really good. If you see them out, get them. And everybody have a great holiday. I enjoyed the episode and look forward to doing the next one.
Awesome. Chad, what about you, man?
Same here. I came in. I was surprised. I had no idea what we were pouring tonight.
Didn't even know you were eating either.
Yeah, I did not actually know we were eating either. So I've got one bite of pork left. I'm saving to take home because Matt served me a big ass piece of pie. I was already stuffed when I arrived here.
Yeah,
but great. I'm gonna start cooking with bourbon more. I'm gonna pair my dinners with bourbon more.
Yeah.
So fun night. Thank you, Matt. Gracious for this. And I'm going to need the apple pie recipe because it's the only gluten-free thing I've ever had that I liked. So
there you go. Awesome, man. Matt, what about you, man, before we wrap it up?
I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday, however you celebrate it. I hope it's with friends and family, and hopefully around good food and good drink as well. So thank you all for spending the last year with us. I hope your holidays are safe, happy, healthy, and even though this is coming out a little bit earlier than the holidays themselves, depending on which ones you celebrate, we're just very thankful for you all. So thank you all so much, and it's been my pleasure to share this with you gentlemen.
Yeah, yes, thank you, man. Thanks so much, Matt. This has been great, man. You know, we've hung out together for over 2 years, and we've shared a lot of drinks together, but we've never really shared food together. Food prepared by you. So I was very excited to be able to do this tonight, man. So thank you so much for doing that for us, and everything was delicious. Really enjoyed it, man. Enjoyed the drinks, even the Elvis Rye, which I'm just surprised that I was ready to hate on that. So, but everything has been really good. So, we just want to thank all of our sponsors. Of course, we are the Bourbon Life Podcast presented by Bespoken Spirits, and we thank them for their support. Thank all our sponsors for their support as well. We thank you, our listeners, for all the support you give us. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to us. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can email us at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. The website, thebourbonlife.net. But it is there. So you can check that out as well. But with that said, thank you guys. And again, Matt, thank you for the wonderful food, man. And thank you, Chad and Philip, for joining us, man, and hanging out with us for the Bourbon Life Holiday Special. We appreciate it. All right, with that said, I'm going to wrap it up, send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the Bourbon Life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the Bourbon Life.
Whether it's rye, sour mash Tennessee whiskey, or bourbon, Davidson Reserve has something delicious to offer any whiskey lover's palate. Pick up a bottle of one of our award-winning Davidson Reserve whiskeys from your local retailer today. Visit www.davidsonreserve.com for more information. And cheers to drinking local.